Hello, everyone. Welcome back. I'm your host, Andy Shademan, and welcome to another episode of Pop Smash. Yes, I know you have not seen me in a while on the podcast, but I have been I look, girl. If you are watching my life of almost every day, you know that a lot of things have been going on, so it's just what it is. I have a very exciting announcement that I already did on my other YouTube channel, the real Andy of Beverly Hills. Yes, the old one. So if you have some time, go and watch it after it, okay? Because it's very special. But over here I just want to kind of just come here and talk a little bit, unwind a little bit, vent a little bit, and just talk about what really really matters right now, which is Real Housewife, bitch. Okay, we need to talk about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And I keep forgetting that we're actually watching Real Housewives of Potomac, but it's are we really that invested in Potomac? Like I'm watching it, but I don't know. How do you guys are feeling about Potomac? Um, Before we start, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We are so close to monetize this channel. As you know, I am not making any money from any of these podcasts or videos. The only way that you can support me right now is through super chats, super stickers, super thanks, all of that, which I really, really appreciate it, guys. Also, I love to read all of your comments, as many comments as you can leave is the best one. Also, I want to thank every single one of you guys who have taken even the time, you know, to send me anything from my wish list for Christmas. Like I have been receiving some gift. I'm gonna be doing a special video about that. But I'm like I can that's the part always to me. It's like I'm so grateful to you guys. You guys honestly are amazing. Okay, thank you so much. Anyways, guys, let's just start talking about Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. All right, I think we should just go there, start right, because this season is giving me life but in a different way, but it is good, so it's kind of like I needed this season, guys, because it's kind of like really making me like reminding me why I used to be a huge fan of the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, why the show was used to be my number one show. Like literally I start my YouTube channel because Real Housewife of Beverly Hills, and because I wanted it to talk about Real Housewife of Beverly Hills, and then year after year after year after so many things, it kind of like went through a different way. And this season, it's kind of like getting back to what we know or what Real Housewife kind of like used to be a little bit. I'm finding myself being very refreshed by the storylines because we are coming from. I think we just got used to of course, a lot of drama. Of course, we have Lisa Rena versus Kathy Hilton and Erica Jane legal problems, and then the racist stuff, and we kind of got up into these huge dramas, right? And I think it became our normal that if something huge was not happening, then the show was simply not good, right? And I was like, I mean, I think it is important for a show to have a big drama here and there because it really kept our attention, where it needs to be. But I don't think it's attainable to expect that every single season we're gonna have one person having a major drama, you know? So I think we just you just have to roll with what it is. I think coming back into what are the storylines of each one of these women is what really maybe is going to matter. I remember I watched a video of Vicky Gunvalson from Orange County was on the Nick Vial podcast a couple of days ago. And she says something that at the moment I was so caught up, or I'm still kind of caught up into the whole drama, right? that I didn't, that I was like, oh, but she says something like, oh, I want to return to the show because I would like to get back, to take the show and get it back to a little bit to what it was, which was, like what is happening with like our life. How are we living? How are we working? What are we doing? Like, not everything needs to be about investigating what these ladies were doing, 10 years ago, and bring it back here to try to attack each other, right? And I remember when I watched that show, what that segment, I was like, "Oh, Vicky, you're in for a huge surprise because shit has definitely changed, and times have changed, and it's because we are so used to like drama, 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 right?" But then I was watching Real House of Beverly Hills, and I know that it's not like we are super into absolutely everyone, but we are starting to get little snips of what is actually happening on every single one of these women's lives independently, and it's not just everyone against one person, right? And I'm starting to see like, oh wait, this is actually also entertaining, like we are watching a show which is about these ladies who have great opportunities, all the privilege in the world, basically, and how are they living their lives? How are they managing their families? How are they managing their money? How are they like really perceive the world depending on their experiences? And we still have like, of course, drama. Again, I know like drama will always be part of reality TV. Like I think a reality TV show without drama will be like the most boring thing in the world, right? But like is not the main center. We still have a whole season to go, so I might be eating my words later on. But like, we are on episode 4 or 5 or something like that right now. So like, it's just the feeling that we get. We are getting to know like Rachel So and Amanda, and it's really giving us this new flow of energy that we actually kind of like really needed. We are getting to know a little bit more of Bosoma. I feel like Bosoma entered last season, and we didn't really get to know too much about her because there was a lot of drama with Sutton and Kyle, and the Reed, and all of that. And I think it was so focused on that that we really didn't get to see who Bosoma really is. I mean, we have this powerful woman, super opinionated, who definitely won't keep anything to herself, and it kind of like got lost last season because we were so focused on like other things, right? Um, and then of course we have Kyle. I'm gonna talk a little bit about Kyle in a second, and we have Dorit, which um, it's kind of like weird. It's not like I am a fan of the read at all. But it's kind of like finally understanding, okay, where you really are. I feel that last season there was a lot of thirstiness behind the read into like trying to be the victim of the divorce, right? And I think this season we're seeing at the read that more than a victim is trying to really understand her circumstances, and it's kind of like finally hitting like, oh, this is going to be my life. So what I'm gonna be doing now, and she's returning to like herself, her femininity, her like inner power as a woman, and all of that. And it's kind of like interesting to watch. I think Sutton is going to be very much into like the back seat for a while. I think last season was very rough on her, but at the same time, we're seeing her, into who she could be, and also the struggles of her family in general. Like we are seeing on this episode that she wants to like maybe change back her name, her last name to Brown, and how she, like, to me it was very powerful to for her to admit that, oh, there was a part of me that always thought that maybe I could get Christian back, So that's kind of like a testament of like, oh, this was a woman in love, and this is a woman who still might have some kind of feelings for her ex-husband because they have a family, they have a lot of things, and she's finally kind of like ready to move on. My only thing was like, Sutton, just like reach out to the lawyers because I don't want you to like change your last name and then lose whatever money that you are supposed to get, because girl, I will not let $300,000 a month go for absolutely anything. Okay, like I will be buried with the struck name then. So but I think, I think it's very empower for her is that a word? Empowering Latino woman, guys. Well, anyways, you know what I mean. I think it's a very powerful thing for her to like acknowledge that she's ready to let that part of her life go, and maybe that's why she has not really been able to find real love, or to find someone who really is there for her, because a little part of her brain is still kind of like waiting for the possibility to something to get back, and to happen with her ex-husband. And I love that part. I think Sutton is a lovely woman, and I think she has so much love to give, but she just doesn't know how to translate it because she's still living on the trauma of what her marriage used to be, right? So I'm very happy for Sutton, and I really hope that she does the way. She definitely seems calmer this season, and I think it has to be with the fact that the ladies are definitely not after her that much. I know that a lot of you are very angry at Sutton for what happened with Garcelle. And I'm not saying that she is completely innocent on that situation. I think that I keep telling you guys, I think there is one thing into being a friend and another thing into being a housewife. And I do will agree with you into telling you maybe Sutton was not a great friend to Garcelle by not defending her enough at the reunion. But at the same time, and if what I hear is true, and Sutton kind of like already knew that Garcelle was gonna just leave, I will also be like, look, I'm gonna go here, defend you with all of these women, and you're gonna end up leaving anyways. And I'm the one who has to come back here next year without friends, without loyalties, without absolutely anyone, and then I'm just gonna be here by myself. So you have to like play that game, a little bit into what is really good, what is really going to be good for you. Uh, it's a shady game, especially if you are trading with like real friends, and you can tell that Garcelle probably is still very upset by the whole situation. So I don't know, but I think as viewers we have to let that part go a little bit because this is what we're getting. This is the Saturn that we're getting. This is not gonna change, and I think at the end of the day, what really matters is what we are watching on the TV. Um, Rachel, I am very impressed with her. For me, this is a completely new person, to be honest with you, because I never watched her show before. And to be honest with you, the only things that I heard about Rachel is when I bought things that were her brand. I have some things from her, so that was kind of like, oh, that's Rachel. So, okay. I didn't even have like her face in my mind. But of course, like she's a beautiful woman, complete fashionista, she has coins. She, is opinionated, and I love the way that she looks at life. And I'm getting to enjoy getting to know her as a housewife now, and it's kind of like very impressive. I have seen her a couple times, like in person, and she is such a gorgeous woman. So like I'm very like I want to get to know her more, but also very interesting to see that side of like how is she going to react where when real drama hits the show, because that drama again, it's going to be part of the show. So I'm very interesting to see like, okay, how are you going to react to this? How is an unhinged Rachel So really going to be when she is going to be pushed into that? Because honey, again, as much as we want everything to be rainbows and unicorns, it's not going to be like that forever. At some point someone is going to get pissed and is going to push buttons and is going to like make things hard for her. It's just the way it works, right? um but I'm really really liking her. um let's talk a little bit about Amanda. uh I don't dislike her, but I don't like her. I don't know if that makes sense. Like I think I still need time to getting to know her, so that's why I'm not judging her super bad. I think, I mean, it is very obvious, she is coming from like new money. She literally said it herself, I grew up without nothing, I'm making all of this, and as a person, I'm very into like energies, manifestation, I do all of that with my husband all the time. So like I understand what she's trying to say, and that's why it kind of like is picking my attention to like really get to know her a little bit more. But if you ask me from the Beverly Hills point of view, I just don't see her connecting enough with the group, you know? Um, I have said this multiple times. I want my real housewife to not be relatable. You know, I think that part of what works for the show, at least for me, is looking at these women as like the things that I want to have one day. And it is so big that you're like, oh my God. You know, like when I saw Carl Richards bringing a mini Kelly that is $36,000. And I'm just thinking, damn, I could pay like 3 years of rent with that money, you know. That's kind of like what I want to watch, you know, like watching the poor girl who it's gonna like I don't want Amanda to lean too much into I used to be poor and please relate to me because I used to be poor and now I have money and I just want the world to know that it is possible because I think we have so much of that every like out there already. You go to TikTok, you go to Instagram, there is always like life coaches and manifestation coaches and this and that, you know, and everything is possible and blah blah blah. You know, and it's like I just don't want to do that. I was like when you know Bosoma was telling her to give some advice to Dorit, you know, I'm like, we are dealing here with serial things, like serious things, you know, like Dorit needs to get her finances in order. And I get it. Manifestation is important, gratitude is important, you know, all of those things are really important. But like right now, we're talking about a woman who's probably gonna lose absolutely everything and needs real financial advice, you know? So I'm very, you know, I'm a Gemini, so I think I'm in the middle of like both, you know, like I understand the Bosoma financial businesswoman side of it, and I understand Amanda's more like energetic manifestation side of things, you know, so I'm kind of like in the middle. But my thing is like, I don't want Amanda to fall into the category of like, I just want to be inspirational. Please buy my course on Instagram. You know what I mean? Because that's not good. That is not Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills is about class. It's about luxury. It's about a little bit of fakeness. It's about, you know, it's just what Beverly Hills is. And she doesn't have the power to change that, to change everything into what she thinks it could be, you know. And I feel, I know for a fact a bunch of the ladies are not fan of Amanda as of now, like literally today, you know. And I'm like, that's what you need to avoid, you know. You need to create, if you want to play the housewife games as it is, you have to play your cards. You have to have loyalty. You have to have friends, and you have to do what you have to do, you know, and not just come here completely as, you know, I'm gonna change everything and everything is gonna go my way because it will not work like that. So that's why maybe that's why I'm not letting myself like fall completely for Amanda because it's kind of like I don't know if she's gonna work out for the show. You know, I want to, but I definitely gonna need to see her evolve a little bit more. And you can tell that she's super green into this whole thing. Um, and there are already rumors going around. You know, I was watching a podcast the other day, and this guy was saying something that he met a paparazzi, and a paparazzi was waiting for Amanda because Amanda allegedly paid him to take pictures of her. Not this was before the show. You know, it was because she wanted it to be photographed by a paparazzi to manifest being famous. So I don't know, you know, like it's kind of like, okay, this workout for you? Like manifestation is a powerful tool. I definitely not deny its power. I think manifestation is one of the most amazing ways to open your soul and your brain and your mind to like wonderful things. You know, it is hard as fuck, and it not everyone can actually really manifest their dreams, right? Uh, but you know, you bring that kind of things to a reality show, and it hits a little bit different. So Amanda definitely needs to find her way into how this is going to be for her. Now, let's talk about Cal Richards. Okay, um, this is the Kyle that I love. This is the Kyle that I have loved for so many years, right? And again, I am not blind to all the bad things that have happened. And I know that a lot of you cannot stand Kyle. And I know that a lot of you said that she lied, that she has not done the right things. And I have been also like on the train sometimes, because I do believe that as a housewife and as a reality TV person, you are being hired to put your life out there and to talk about everything, right? And after everything that happened with Morgan Wade, it was a little bit weird to see her not really talk about it, when we have been involved in your marriage since season one, right? So it was kind of like I understand the frustration when it comes to people, but watching this new season and specifically this last episode, again, it was a reminder of the Kyle Richards that we used to have, that was real, that was putting her life out there, that was really, really giving us the explanations the best way that she could and the best way that he knows how to do it. I think at the end of the day, we all know that she had a relationship with Morgan Wade. I think they were together for like 3 years or something like that, right? Um, but to see her really talk about Mauricio and talk about, when she was giving all of that advice to Alexia, and when not to Alexia, talking, about her hopes for Alexia's marriage into the future, and you can see this brokenness, and you can see that Kyle will always have these feelings for Mauricio. And then I kind of like really understood, and I think we have all never really give a chance into understanding that Kyle was married to this man for 30 years. They start when they were young adults. This is your whole life. This is everything that you know, right? And the worst part is there was no really like there was no cheating, there was no abuse, there was not really something that was really bad, so you don't even have something that you can hate this person for. It was just you fall out of love. You were taking different routes. Like it's just the way it is. And that's even worse because then you cannot really hate this person. You was gonna go through life loving this person, and then you understand why the first person who comes to you and start give you affection, you start making that transfer, and that happened a lot, especially on relationships that have been going on for like a very long time. you know uh, you don't know how to live this life, and then of course you are an attractive person. There is always going to be people around you who wants to give you love, and in this case it was a woman. And then for Kyle to like actually open her mind into saying, wait, what if my happily ever after end up being with a woman and not with a man? So to open yourself to all of that possibilities, it's even more like even brave, I will have to say. And yes, it was doom. I'm so sorry, but like I mean, Morgan, I always knew that Morgan Wade was never going to be for Kyle. I think you are dealing with not only a housewife but like an OG housewife. You're dealing with someone who is extremely loved. You're dealing with someone who is very used to the public opinion and who love the public opinion as well. So the whole thing of like, I just want to be private, don't talk about me, don't this, don't that, it was never gonna work out. There are even rumors right now saying that Morgan Wade is completely pissed because Kyle is opening a little bit in the show. Imagine, and Kyle has not even say her name. So imagine how a relationship like that was ever going to work. I don't know. I mean, I think Morgan Wade was always like a bad seed, and I'm kind of like happy, that Kyle like dodged that bullet. I know it's painful because you broke up your marriage was over, and then you get into a new relationship, and then you have to get your heart broken again. But girl, you just have to kiss a lot of frogs, in order to get what it is. I think what's important for Kyle is for her to understand that she just deserves to be happy, and she just deserves to do whatever she needs to do to get to her to wake up with a smile in her face. It doesn't matter if it's a new man, a new woman, buying a new dog, whatever it is that makes you the feel your tank love. You love tank. I'm sorry. That's what you need to do. That's where you need to go. But I saw this Kyle who basically was finally opening up. Was finally saying yes. I at this point I think I consider myself bisexual. I can go Brad, I can go Angelina, whatever it is, I think it is late. Yes, I think we were waiting this like 2 seasons ago. But also, I want you guys to understand that it is not up to us to push absolutely anyone to really come out of the closet and to really push anyone to confront feelings that they might not even really truly understand. So even though I know the frustration that because we wanted that explanation of what really is going on, and we thought it is so easy to say like, oh, I'm fucking a woman now, get over it. It is really not that easy when you are just living a marriage of 30 years. You have 4 kids. One of your kids is still underage, and you're still going through the public opinions and everything. And I think for the first time, I'm like, you know what, Kyle, you deserve that time. And I think Kyle always knew that that time was not gonna be given to her. So she said, you know what, fuck it. I have been putting my life for over a decade to you guys. I'm gonna take this for me. If you like it, you like it. If you don't like it, you don't like it. Period. And now she's finally really able to talk about it. Now I think that what she needs to do is also learn from this situation, because yes, you kind of like own us an explanation in the sense that you are on a reality TV show. So even though like I'm not expect her to come here and tell us what kind of sexual position she's doing, I kind of like just want to know what are your feelings, what's in your heart, what is really bothering you, but in a real way. But I think the fact that she was put on a gag order by Morgan Wade really, really affect the way that many fans look at Kyle Richards for all of these past years. So I kind of like hoping that we get back into like the Kyle who is open, who is real, who is ready to be raw and to bring all of those good things like right, to the front. I'm very excited. I think we're going to be moving forward with the first trip, which I think is going to be Sedona. And according to Andy Cohen, this is where things are actually going to really start going down. I know for a fact that Dorit cannot stand Amanda. I know that I think Kyle and Erica are not talking to Dorit right now. There is a lot of shifting into like friendships and all of that. So I'm very excited to see how like all of that is really gonna work out. Oh my god, my hair is a mess. Sorry guys. How all of that is gonna work out. And I'm very excited. So this season, like what I told you before the season start, it's kind of like making like it's kind of like really happening, which is that this season was going to be a like get back to its roots, get back to what really it used to be, and I'm very excited for it. So yeah, like what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Um I wanted to talk a little bit into like Real House of Salt Lake City, just in the sense because I already did the recap on my previous video, so go and watch it if you haven't watched it. But there is a lot of talk about Meredith and the Mother's Day thing and like answering the phone. And I'm just like, look, I'm not a father. I don't have kids, so like I just don't gonna connect in the same way. But I do believe that, and I think we know also that Meredith is very close to Brooks. So like to me, it was not really a surprise that Meredith like answered the phone because I think her instinct was to, of course, answer her phone. It was Mother's Day, but also to be shady. And I think the way that Heather and Whitney are being so unhinged about it, it really is actually showing the true colors of Heather and Whitney. I have been so disappointed, especially in Heather Gay. Whitney, I already know everything that I need to know about Whitney. We know her obsession with Lisa Barlow goes to another level. We know that everything it is what it is with Whitney. But with Heather, she was going through such a good path. And I'm not saying just because she was being friends with Lisa, I'm being in general. And this season, I don't know why she had to change so much. And everyone is noticing it. Like I have been watching so many videos, I have been talking to so many people, And like everyone is like, what the fuck is wrong with Heather Gay? Why is she doing this? Why is she not letting the mouse go when it comes to Meredith? Like, is this your lack of storyline so hard that you just have to attack another woman? Because again, we need to know what is happening inside of each one of these women. And now we have a Heather who doesn't have kids in her house, who doesn't have a man, who doesn't have anything, and she's just deciding like, oh, I'm just going to start attacking everyone else, and that's going to be my storyline. And it's not working out. It's making her seem desperate. It's making her seem mean, a bully. And she gets together with Whitney, and it's like, how are we gonna, like, how is any of the women gonna trust her moving forward? Like, it's weird. um I don't know if there is redemption at this point. And I think that Heather Gay is so obsessed with making something happen that I wouldn't put it past her to start making fake shit about any of the other ladies. Of course, Meredith, Lisa, Mary, I don't know, like even Bronwyn or Angie at some point, because I think she's getting to be very subconscious about being a good housewife. I think the fact that she gave one of the biggest Real Housewife history moments in season 4, it's getting to her mind into being like, oh, what if I became irrelevant? What if I cannot sell another book? What if, like, and this is the point of being a housewife. If you are not really smart while you are a housewife on making businesses that are going to be there for you forever, then once you stop being a housewife, it's just going to be irrelevant. And she has beauty love, but like, is this going to be really enough for you? Or maybe she's just already so used to the fame that she just wants to create a new thing to be famous. But like, I'm telling you guys, I'm pretty sure that she's gonna be like making some shit up with like some weird uh stuff, out there just to create another moment. And then if that happened, I'm gonna have to be very careful into look at it and say, okay, is this whatever you're trying to put out there right now really real, or is this you trying to make shit because you don't have a storyline to really stand on? You know what I mean? So I think it's important for us to really pay attention of what is coming out from Heather's and Whitney's mouth, and not just go like a horse with like closed eyes and just like walk on like, oh, whatever she says it has to be the truth. Because I think she's getting into a stage of desperation. Same as Whitney, there are so many rumors, that there are investigations going on. I think Whitney has been involved in a lot in scams, and literally scams, like she has been called out by several people on social media who were like, hey, I was in your company and you literally scammed me or took my money away. So I think Whitney is also, I think instead of spending all of her time obsessing over Lisa and Meredith, she should be putting all of her ducks in a row to really be able to say like, oh, I didn't do that, this is the truth, this is where the money go, or this is what my husband did, or whatever it is, because girl, you know what I mean, hmm. So anyways, that was basically what I wanted to say about Real House of Salt Lake City. If you want to watch like the recap again, go and watch my previous video. All right, guys. So that's it for today. A quick episode. I'm gonna try to come a little bit more Latino moment, guys. A little bit more. But maybe I'm also like doing live when I'm going on my walks and all of that. So like, stay tuned for that. There are definitely like fun stuff that are coming for January. So stay tuned for all of that. Make sure you are subscribed to both of my YouTube channels. This one, The Real Andy Shademan, and my other channel, The Real Andy of Beverly Hills. All right. And I'll see you around, guys. I love you. Subscribe, like, rewatch, triple watch, do the all good things. And I'll see you around. See ya. Bye.